Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another story to inspire at tocreateloveheal.com. Today I am sitting, I'm going to scoot over towards you a little bit more, sorry. I am speaking with Grace Bermejo and Beth Burt. And the topic today is special needs kids, specifically those with autism or on the spectrum of autism that are dealing with autism. So Grace, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit?
My name is Grace, and we're originally from Orange County. We've been in Riverside for about 20 years. I have 3 children. 2 of them are on the spectrum. Eric is 21, and my daughter Melina is 6 years old.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges you faced when they were being diagnosed.
Well, the challenges for both of them are very different because even though they both are autistic, considered autistic. Eric was diagnosed maybe 15 years ago when he was 8, and 15 or more years ago.
Right.
And it was very challenging because nobody knew what Asperger's syndrome was. Especially the schools were not familiar with it at all, and it was even difficult for the pediatricians or even neurologists. So it was very, very new. Nobody knew what to do, and it took me a while to get a diagnosis for him, and he needed the help because he was having a lot of difficulties in school.
Okay.
For my daughter Melina, it was difficult because I had to re-educate myself because she is autistic and she was nonverbal. So it was very different from Eric. So I had to start at square one, what it is she needed to get her challenges at school to try and help her, also.
Okay. So when people talk about, or you hear, that autism, there's the spectrum of autism, you really got to experience that or live that because of the fact that your kids, even though they both have autism, they were totally different.
They're on the different ends of the spectrum.
Okay. So what do you have any tips or advice for parents that maybe haven't yet been through the diagnosing phase? They notice something's wrong, or maybe the school is saying to them there's something going on, we need to get this addressed, and they just don't really quite know where to turn. Like what direction would you point them to, or what kind
I think that most parents, you don't want to ever hear that your child is broken or that there's something wrong with your child.
Right.
And unfortunately, when they get to school is when they really start noticing, that our kids are having difficulties or there's something different about our kids.
Right.
So educate yourself. That's been my thing from day one is educate. Education is key. You really have to educate yourself and read and try to learn as much as you can to help your child and not always go by what the school district tells you or even what the specialists tell you.
Okay.
Because every child is different. And even though, and to this day, I see it every day, not all of our kids are different. Every child with autism is different. And you really have to educate yourself. Don't always believe what the school district tells you. And as a mom that something, if something is wrong, and just, make a list, make a list of things that, difficulties they're having in school, take it to your pediatrician, and, go from there and keep insisting. Like, you don't know how many times I've got turned down with Eric and said there's nothing wrong. He's just a boy. And, I was often felt that there was something wrong with me, like, why did I want something wrong to be, something wrong, that I wanted something wrong?
You were looking for something to be wrong with him. Child.
Yes. So then I just kept insisting. I kept insisting, and I kept going back, and and eventually.
And you really learned the value of early intervention and being your child's advocate. And 15 years ago, when there wasn't as much education and resources, or as many resources, you really were faced challenges in reaching out and finding other people that could help.
Yes, that's the one thing that I've told Beth. It was a lot more difficult to get services for Eric than it was for Melina. The good
Is that when you met Beth?
That's when we met. Yeah, both of our boys were in the 2nd grade.
Okay.
And she was godsend to me because when I was going through everything, one day she just appeared. She was sitting next to me on a field trip, on the bus on a field trip, and I said, "Hey, I see your son is,
different.
Yeah, different. Mine is too." And then, so that's where our friendship stemmed from there. But I was already going through everything that I was going through, and blindly.
Oh yeah.
Blindly, I was literally, and like with Melina, it's been a lot easier.
Okay.
Because there is more awareness. Luckily they do believe that early intervention is key.
Right.
So she's had like intensive therapy since she was about 21, 22 months. So I'm lucky with that. But with that said, I still don't take whatever they tell me for as the final what?
Like the final word, the final
yes,
say so.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm always educating myself. I'm always trying to look for better programs. I'm always trying to look for more therapy on how I'm gonna, help her.
And Beth had mentioned when we were talking before that with Melina, they were offering you this sort of program, and you were kind of like, no, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Like you were like, hey, I've been through this before, and you've already so.
Like I said with Eric, and I think I learned a lot with Eric because Eric's program was basically they had to make it up. They didn't know what they were doing. Mm-hmm. So I was very lucky that the Center for Autism and Related Disorders, the program supervisor, she really said, okay, this is kind of new, but I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take him. And they made up his program, and I was able to be involved with that. So they just made it up. They didn't have one.
Okay.
So coming from that background now with Melina, it's like, okay, well, I want to be involved too. What is it that you're doing? How is this going to help her? So yeah, I'm always looking for something better. I'm always calling her. Do you think there's something better?
Growth and resilience. It's exactly a beautiful picture of that. Yeah. Beth, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your family?
My family. I am the mother of 2 young men. My oldest is 22 that has autism. And I have an 18-year-old with dyslexia and ADD. And then I have an 8-year-old nephew that's also on the autism spectrum.
Okay. And I am familiar, you co-authored two books that were written for educators. You had educators in mind, right? Tell us a little bit about that story and
that background.
Yeah, that background.
It's interesting because as Grace and I went through the elementary school experience, both of our children at that time were fully included, and having a lot of experience with other children because of my work as an advocate or just talking with other families, learning some of the tricks of the trade over the years. And myself and a few colleagues were trying to give this information away for free to the school district, because I would walk down the hall and a teacher would, say, come here, hey, what about this, kid? Is there anything I could do? Or what about this? And just giving them a few ideas. So we approached the school district about doing free training, and they politely said, no, thank you.
Wow.
So we wanted to share. I mean, that was it. We wanted to share this information, and that's how the idea of these books came about. They're really easy to read, kind of a reference guide. So on one page has an example of a behavior. So an example would be taking off your shoes. For some teachers, it's a big deal. For other teachers, they could care less. So we would put maybe 3 or 4 reasons why a student may be taking off their shoes. And it's not because they're disrespectful or trying to be rude. There's usually a biological or sensory reason for it. And then on the other page, just some quick strategies that are very low cost or free for teachers, because we know that they don't have a lot of time. So it's that simple. You just look at the behavior, look it up. Okay, it could be because of this, and this is some suggestions, and it's a quick tool book.
Wow, that's really awesome. I was thinking about what you were talking about with my older son. He was a shoe taker offer in class, and I remember that being a huge issue with some teachers versus others. But and as a nurse, I was just thinking, taking care of pediatric patients. Sometimes I had a teenager where I had to deal with him a lot differently than some of the other patients. So that might even benefit me to pick up one of these books and see if there's some tips for me. The names of the books: Behavior Solutions for the Inclusive Classroom, and more behavior solutions beyond the inclusive classroom. And parents and educators can get a hold of these books on Amazon.
Amazon, yep, is a great resource. One of my favorites.
Awesome. Okay. Now you were talking about your sons are older.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the challenges that they're facing, that you're going through now with them being young adults, and how different that is compared to the elementary school experience.
Grace had kind of talked about when Eric was getting diagnosed, there wasn't anything. She was the warrior mom out there educating the teachers every single year and the school districts and making up programs. And unfortunately, we're finding that same issue now that this whole population of young people have become adults. They're entering the service systems for the adults, and the programs don't fit them. Our unemployment rate in the autism community is 90%.
Wow.
We have 900 young people just in the Inland Empire that are either sitting at home doing nothing or at what they call sheltered workshops, where they're sorting and doing piecework for maybe pennies a day. And these are some young men that have graduated. My son, graduated honor roll. So colleges, the accommodations that are working at colleges don't really work for them. Employment. So we're really kind of tackling this whole employment service system as one of our big initiatives this year.
I see. So you have taken this whole warrior concept that Grace and you both shared throughout elementary school and junior high and high school now to the young adult level. So, and 15 years from now, there'll be amazing resources for the young adults, and that's what you're...
Hopefully.
There will be. There's already been amazing work done so far, so that's great. Tell us a little bit about not only just the local education that you've been doing, but over at the state level that you've been involved with.
We've been working on these employment issues for the last probably 4 years at the local level, and trying different models and working with different collaboratives, and we're not getting far enough fast enough.
Okay.
So last year I was elected the president of the Autism Society of California in December, and it's one of our initiatives because we're figuring out it's faster if it comes down from the state level. So whether that's through legislation or budget regs, but we're working with the Department of Rehabilitation, we're working with Department of Developmental Services, we're working at those levels trying to get our point of view there. So
Okay, very good. Let's talk a little bit about the Autism Society Inland Empire chapter, which you just mentioned. Last year I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Walk for Autism, which was a lot of fun. We had a great time there. That's coming around this next month, right?
April 19th, Sunday, April 19th.
Okay, and the theme is?
It's the Superhero Walk for Autism. So
Awesome.
We're encouraging people to put on their superhero costumes or just come out with their t-shirts and join us to change the world.
Very cool. Where can someone, a parent or educator, sign up and participate in the walk?
On our website, which is www.ieautism.org.
Okay, awesome. And that organization, parents can go and find out more like resources.
We do anywhere from 6 to 12 events a month all over the Inland Empire. We've got over 700 resources on our website. So,
Nice.
or call us or email us if you have a specific question.
Nice. I'll be putting up the resources with the blog post that accompanies the video. I saw on there something interesting when I went on the website. Actually, it was like a movie, a sensory-friendly movie.
Yes.
Time that you have, like with AMC and I think Melina.
Okay.
Melina. That's Melina calling. Tell me a little bit about the AMC, the movie, sensory-friendly movie. That was really cool.
AMC has been a wonderful national partner, so it's not just in our area, but it's all over the United States. There are select theaters that do sensory-friendly movies, and what that means is the sound may not be as loud as it is in a normal theater. also the previews. For some reason, that can set off a lot of children because they don't know what's coming next. They may be going to go see, I don't know what the latest movies are, but they expect to see those characters, but they don't want to see all the previews before that.
Oh, okay.
And it's not such a big deal if you have to get up and walk out of the theater, or if your child needs to stand up, or if they want to
Take their shoes off.
Exactly, take their shoes off. But it's a great
Okay.
place to practice going to the movies, because that's a lot of parents of typical children may not understand the challenges that many things that are taken for granted, soccer practice, going to the movies, going to birthday parties, could all be very traumatic for our families.
Right.
And we don't take it for granted.
Right.
You know, I will always tell the story that, you know, as a special needs parent, sometimes it's hard to relate when you're talking to somebody going, you know, oh my gosh, I've got 3 birthday parties to go to, and I've got to do this and this, and you're happy for them. But at the same time, you're thinking, gosh, my child's never been invited to one birthday party. And it's a very different perspective. So
Right.
it's good to connect with other special needs parents, just so you kind of have that understanding.
Absolutely. And so I will be listing the resources on the blog, because it is very important to get with other parents, you know, and make these connections and friendships, so that way you go through this together, because there are many families out there that
Right.
have special needs
And
kids.
there's strength in numbers.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much, Grace. Come
Thank
in
you.
here. I know Melina needed you, but thank you. I just want to thank both of you for your time. And you definitely are the essence of growth and resilience. And tune in next week for another story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.